Hello everyone, and welcome back to Modern Warships. Today we'll be looking at a Tier 1 ship, yes, the entry tier, because there's a new one. Well, it's not particularly new, but it's there and I haven't seen it yet, so I figured I'll give it a try and see how it plays. I mean, Tier 1 is not a tier you probably usually be playing, it's really just more for fun. And this, I believe, is the first ship in the game of the Indonesian Navy. This is the Golok. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's effectively, this ship actually exists, it's effectively a trimaran, a fast attack craft for littoral and archipelago sort of operations. It's meant to be quick, it's meant to be stealthy. This thing isn't actually made of steel or aluminum, it's made out of carbon fiber compounds of some sorts, and more sort of suited for coastal operations and these sort of things. So what makes it different from the rest of the gang at tier 1? There's an awful lot of ships at tier 1, but there's one of the earlier littoral combat ships. There's a Coast Guard sort of corvette thing from the US. There is a Soviet corvette, a Russian corvette, and a Chinese ship. But they all have one thing in common, in that they're not particularly fast. Now this thing reminds me a bit of the Independence. That thing does over 30 knots, which is fun. Because that means you can use it for, exactly as its purpose, hit and run tactics and go behind islands and generally be a bit quicker. You can't fit a helicopter onto this thing, which is a major downside. It also has very low hit points, but it has 2 missile slots, a single cannon slot and 1 AA slot. So the way I've set this up, in Tier 1, there are a bunch of actually not too dreadful missiles. You could fit, if you want to stay somewhat accurate, you could fit an Exocet onto that. It's the French one. Or you could fit a harpoon on it, or you could use the Griffin, which launches 3 missiles. It doesn't do an awful lot of damage, but that's not the point, right? This is all about having fun. So with 2 launchers, you can lob out 6 missiles in every salvo. I've put the 20mm autocannon. Well, it's not an autocannon really. It's a manual cannon, but it's more of a really low caliber gun on this thing. And we've got, I think there's only one air defense cannon in the game, I believe. If we have a quick look, yeah, that is the only AA gun you can get anyway. So it has a bit of air defense. Now the biggest weakness, sort of or the biggest problem is that you have in this ship is that the hit point pool is really low, and you can be literally taken out by helicopters. The enemy team doesn't even need to move their ships; they can just jump in their helicopters and do something about you. You don't have a helicopter of your own to launch, but it's still a funny ship. So let's give it a quick go and see if you can actually have entertaining games in Tier 1. Our first battle is on the Storm map, which is not great because it means we don't have an awful lot of concealment that we can work with. We need to probably be a little bit more careful. So I'm just backing off and kind of moving around a little bit to the side here. And there you can see the speed and maneuverability that you have in this thing, which is great, but which is also really the only advantage that she has. And obviously the rest of the team is mostly busy just flying the helicopters across the map, which is good. So I'm just gonna hide here in the back a little bit until something has been spotted and I can make myself useful. Normally I'd be going in for cover, but there isn't much cover here. So except for these oil platforms in the middle, I'm just gonna stick with my team and give everybody something else to shoot at. Okay, so the first couple of things are spotted. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have the range with the 20 mils, but that's fine. I've got these little rockets, and although they don't do an awful lot of damage individually, they reload reasonably quickly, and you can then shoot more of them. So, and yeah, trying to hit anything with the 20 mils from this range isn't a great isn't a great thing. But the 20mm cannon also. Now we start talking. The 20mm cannon has a magazine of I think 25, so it takes a while to empty that, and then you get before you need to reload. So you just spam things at people. Generally, I'd be a bit more aggressive and be hiding behind islands and things, because yeah, you see if you're getting shot at, you very quickly not having a ship anymore. So backing off again. We've been way too aggressive here. And the single AA gun isn't doing an awful lot, so don't even try to rely on these things. You do have to use your countermeasures if you're trying to do anything. But I mean, look at this 20mm pop gun. It is racking up the damage eventually, and especially if you can get into ranges where you can relatively reliably hit them. And because it is such a low caliber, it doesn't have an awful lot of spread. It doesn't get out of alignment very quickly. So you can get things on target relatively easily. But yeah, as soon as you get shot at, things go sideways pretty quickly. So don't try to rely on your AA against missiles. Use your countermeasures, otherwise things aren't gonna go your way. But yeah, how has the battle been going? I don't know. I've been sunk. So let's see if. Is that guy? Is that player AFK? Okay, no, he's not AFK. It's just sitting there shooting missiles, and seems to not have a helicopter anymore, but is firing at the last remaining enemy, and our team wins. And I'm still coming out on top, so that's not too terrible. Yeah, we've done some damage. And in the second battle, we're in Greenlands, which is much better because that means we have islands. Which means I've got some things to hide behind and use as missile defense. Because that's literally what this thing is meant for. This is kind of the terrain that these sort of ships were built for. So that makes a hell of a lot more sense. Alright then, given that everybody else is just going to be flying the helicopters around again, let's find ourselves a nice island, hide behind it, and then unload missiles at unsuspecting people. So there come the enemy helicopters. So the whole stealth aspect is nice, but not going to do you an awful lot of good because obviously you'll be spotted very quickly by helicopters. But there's the same thing on the other side, the same thing that I'm sailing here. So let's start spamming some missiles at it and chimp away at it because it doesn't have an awful lot of health, and he hasn't learned the first lesson yet, which is to find yourself an island to hide behind. So I think that thing's dead. There comes some missiles. I'm going to countermeasure those, and then we clean up this side. Because we're also quick enough to sail around the map a little bit and generally be where we need it to be. So we're behind an island again. There are some missiles coming in, but I don't think they're targeted at me. So we'll just be sailing around here and let our 30 mils do the work. I don't think they actually shot anything down yet, but now we are. If I can stop running into this island, because that thing is pretty quick. Now we're faced with something Chinese that is shooting at us, so once again, we need to get behind an island. Don't want to be out in the open. If I can use islands as missile cover, that's generally a good thing. Yeah, these missiles aren't aimed at me, but that's okay. I'm just sailing around and making myself useful. There's our Chinese friend again, and yeah, I don't think any AA is going to be able to do something about these small missiles. So while they're not doing an awful lot on their own, you can eventually tickle your enemy to death with them. And it's just for fun, really. Look, it's tier 1, right? It's not serious. So 2 ships left on the enemy team, 3 ships on ours. That can still go either way. I have no idea what my team's looking like, but let's get ourselves into a position from which we can surprise somebody, because we're currently unspotted, and see if we can help out with no need, that thing's dead already. So we're just going to go around the island and deal with that player over there, who is obviously focused on something else. But yeah, one of the advantages of this being a very fast ship is that you can just relocate and zoom around, which is much more fun than just sitting in one place. But yeah, tier 1 is probably not a tier I'll be playing frequently, just because, you know, it's tier 1. Hello, surprise! This is hilarious. Okay, there's only 2 of us left, so he has finished off the other player, but I don't think he's gonna stand a chance because I'm just shredding through. Oh, he's got the griffins as well, and they do some damage, but he didn't have a chance to recover, and we have managed to still do the most damage in our team. But yeah, these little things are great. They're great fun, and if you need a little bit of a distraction from being hammered into the ground in tier 3, then this can be entertaining from time to time, because the differences between the ships aren't as great, and it's much more of an even playing field. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.